The most famous woman in baseball doesn't want to be famous at all. While millions hang on every swing her husband takes, she's disappeared into a life so private that even teammates don't know basic details about her daily routine. But lately, that privacy has been shattered. Wild rumors are spreading faster than fastballs. Pregnancy speculation, bodyguard drama, mansion construction in Tokyo, accusations of being excluded and bullied. And now, new reports suggest something even more shocking is happening behind closed doors. Today we're going deep into the real story of Mamiko Tanaka, the woman standing beside baseball's biggest star. And trust me, the truth is far more interesting than any rumor. Let's get into it. Mamiko Tanaka lives in a paradox that few people could handle. She's married to arguably the most famous athlete on planet Earth, yet she's managed to maintain a level of anonymity that seems almost impossible in the social media age. No public appearances unless absolutely necessary, no interviews, no carefully curated Instagram presence showing off designer clothes or exotic vacations. She's essentially a ghost, visible only in brief glimpses when the cameras catch her at games or when Shohei decides to share a rare personal moment. This intentional invisibility has created a vacuum, and nature abhors a vacuum. When people don't have real information, they create narratives to fill the space. The pregnancy rumors are a perfect example. The moment Mamiko gave birth to their first daughter in April of last year, speculation immediately began about a second child. Not because there was any evidence, not because anyone close to the family said anything, but simply because that's what people do. They project their own expectations onto celebrities. Fans started analyzing every photo looking for signs. Was her clothing looser than usual? Did she skip a game she normally would have attended? Is Shohei smiling more than normal? This detective work is absurd when you think about it, but it happens constantly. People feel entitled to know intimate details about lives that have nothing to do with them. The reality is that Mamiko and Shohei are navigating parenthood exactly how most new parents do, with a mix of joy, exhaustion, and constant adjustment. When Shohei mentioned being happily sleep-deprived after his daughter was born, it sparked an interesting debate in Japan. Some people praised him for being an involved father who actually participates in nighttime care. Others criticized the comment as tone-deaf, pointing out that most fathers don't have the luxury of international fame and financial security while dealing with sleepless nights. The criticism reveals a cultural tension about how modern fathers are supposed to engage with parenting. The expectations are higher than previous generations, but the recognition for meeting those expectations is mixed at best. What's fascinating about the Ohtani approach to parenting is how seriously they're taking it from an athletic development perspective. In the foot massage routine that was reported isn't just about bonding, it's about literally laying the groundwork for physical potential. The idea that stimulating nerve pathways in infancy can improve coordination and athletic ability later isn't pseudoscience. There's legitimate research supporting the connection between early sensory stimulation and motor skill development. Ichiro's father famously massaged his son's feet throughout childhood, and we all know how that turned out. Whether it's causation or just correlation is debatable, but the Ohtanis clearly believe in investing early. This attention to detail extends to everything they do. The choice to keep their daughter's face completely hidden from public view. The decision to limit information about where they live. The hiring of professional security. These aren't the actions of paranoid celebrities. They're the calculated choices of people who understand that fame comes with real dangers. We've seen enough stories about stalkers, break-ins, and threats against athletes and their families to know these concerns are legitimate. The presence of Al Garcia, the Dodgers' head of security, isn't just about protecting Shohei. It's about creating a protective bubble around the entire family. The relationship between Shohei and his security detail reveals something interesting about his character. Most celebrities treat bodyguards as invisible servants. Shohei treats them as valued members of his team. When he posted that photo with Garcia after the World Series, it wasn't a calculated PR move. It was genuine appreciation for someone who makes his life safer and easier. This kind of gratitude towards support staff is rare in professional sports. It speaks to a value system that was clearly instilled early and has remained consistent despite massive fame and fortune. But back to Mamiko. The speculation about her life has reached truly bizarre levels. The accusation that she's being excluded from the Dodgers' wives group is a perfect example of how easily narratives spiral out of control. Someone noticed she was wearing white in a group photo where most other wives wore black. That single observation somehow morphed into a conspiracy theory about her being ostracized. Then, when she didn't appear in photos from away games in Philadelphia, people concluded she was being deliberately left out. The much simpler explanation that traveling across the country with an infant is exhausting and she chose to stay home apparently didn't occur to anyone. This kind of manufactured drama says more about fans than it does about Mamiko. People want conflict. They want intrigue. They want to believe that even in the world of multimillionaire athletes, there's still petty high school drama happening. The Dodgers' wives having some kind of mean girl situation where they're freezing out Shohei's wife makes for a juicy story. It's also almost certainly complete fiction. Professional sports wives, especially on successful teams, generally understand that they're all in this together. The lifestyle is difficult enough without creating unnecessary tension. The spending habit speculation is equally ridiculous. Because Mamiko carries a Zara bag instead of designer luxury goods, people have concluded she's either remarkably down to earth or secretly cheap. The reality is probably much simpler. She doesn't define herself through material possessions. She came from an athletic background where performance mattered more than appearance. She attended Waseda University, one of Japan's top academic institutions where intellectual achievement was valued. She played professional basketball at a high level where team success mattered more than individual recognition. None of this background suggests someone who would suddenly become obsessed with designer labels just because she married a wealthy athlete. If anything, Mamiko's approach to public presentation seems deliberately understated. She dresses well, but not ostentatiously. She appears at events when necessary, but doesn't seek attention. She supports her husband's career without trying to build her own separate celebrity brand. This is remarkably unusual in the modern sports world where athlete spouses often become influencers, brand ambassadors, or media personalities in their own right. Mamiko has rejected all of that. Whether it's personal preference or strategic choice, the result is the same. She remains an enigma. The question everyone seems obsessed with is what happens when Shohei retires. Will they stay in America, where their children could grow up with access to the best baseball development resources? Or will they return to Japan, where cultural familiarity and family proximity might matter more? Shohei's own comments have been deliberately vague, which is smart. Committing to either option now would create expectations and limit flexibility. But reading between the lines, it seems likely they'll eventually return to Japan, at least part-time. The construction rumors about a Tokyo mansion suggest they're already planning for that eventuality. What's interesting about this speculation is the assumption that Shohei's children, particularly if he has a son, will automatically pursue baseball. The pressure on that hypothetical child would be absolutely crushing. Imagine growing up as Shohei Ohtani's son and trying to play baseball. Every little league coach, every opponent, every fan would be comparing you to potentially the greatest player in baseball history. The expectations would be impossible to meet. This is why so many children of legendary athletes either choose completely different sports or struggle with the weight of their family legacy. Shohei and Mamiko are clearly aware of this danger. Their extreme protectiveness over their daughter's privacy suggests they're trying to give her as normal a childhood as possible given the circumstances. They don't parade her around for photo opportunities. They don't use her image for marketing. They're treating her like a child, not an accessory to Shohei's brand. This restraint is admirable and unfortunately rare in celebrity culture. The basketball background that Mamiko brings is also significant. She wasn't just a casual player. She competed at the national team level. She played professionally. She knows what it takes to perform at an elite level and the sacrifices required. This shared understanding of athletic excellence is probably a huge part of why their relationship works. Mamiko doesn't need Shohei to explain why he needs to maintain certain routines or why he can't always be present for family events. She gets it. She lived it. This mutual respect based on shared experience is a foundation that many athlete marriages lack. Her decision to retire from professional basketball shortly before their marriage was probably necessary given Shohei's career demands, but it also represents a significant sacrifice. She was still capable of playing at a high level. She gave up her own athletic identity to support his. Whether she has regrets about that decision is something only she can answer, but it's worth acknowledging that behind every great male athlete, there's often a woman who has subordinated her own ambitions to enable his success. The cultural dimension of their relationship also matters. Japanese expectations around marriage, family, and gender roles are different from Western norms. Mamiko's approach to being a supportive spouse while maintaining personal dignity fits within a particular cultural framework that might look different to American observers. This doesn't make it better or worse, just different. The important thing is whether it works for them, and from all external evidence, it seems to be working quite well. One aspect that hasn't gotten enough attention is how Mamiko's presence has probably helped Shohei's transition to American baseball. Having a partner who shares his cultural background, speaks his language, and understands the challenges of adapting to a completely different environment is invaluable. Loneliness is a huge issue for international athletes. Having built-in emotional support from someone who truly understands makes an enormous difference. Shohei's remarkable consistency and mental resilience might be partly attributable to having that stable home environment. The bodyguard situation also highlights something important about modern celebrity. Privacy isn't just about preference anymore, it's about safety. High-profile athletes and their families face real threats. Stalkers, kidnappers, people with mental health issues who become dangerously obsessed. The decision to hire professional security isn't paranoia, it's responsible risk management. The fact that they've been able to maintain such privacy despite Shohei's massive fame suggests the security measures are working exactly as intended. Looking forward, the Ohtani family faces interesting decisions. More children or not? America or Japan? Public engagement or continued privacy? How to handle their daughter's eventual awareness that her father is a global icon? These aren't abstract questions. They're real challenges that will shape their family's life trajectory. The choices they make will be scrutinized and judged by millions of people who have no stake in the actual outcomes. That's the price of fame, and it's not a small price. What strikes me most about this entire situation is the fundamental disconnect between public curiosity and private reality. People feel entitled to know everything about celebrities, what they eat, how they parent, whether they're happy, what their marriages are really like. But celebrities are still human beings who deserve basic privacy and dignity. The fact that Mamiko has successfully maintained boundaries in an age of total transparency is actually remarkable. It suggests a level of discipline and intentionality that most people couldn't sustain. The rumors will continue. People will keep speculating about pregnancies and mansion purchases and wives' club drama. That's inevitable when you're connected to someone as famous as Shohei Ohtani. But underneath all the noise is a much simpler story. Two highly accomplished people trying to build a life together while navigating extraordinary circumstances. They're doing it with grace, intelligence, and a clear set of values. Whether we ever learn the full details of their private life is irrelevant. What matters is that they're writing their own story on their own terms. And that's actually the most inspiring part of the whole thing. In a world that demands constant sharing and performance, Mamiko Tanaka has chosen silence. She's shown that you can be connected to global fame without being consumed by it. You can support your partner's dreams without sacrificing your own identity. You can be interesting without being public. These are lessons that go way beyond baseball or celebrity gossip. They're lessons about maintaining your humanity in circumstances that would crush most people. Whatever happens next for the Ohtani family, they've already shown us something valuable about how to live with dignity and purpose when the whole world is watching. Subscribe and come back because this story is far from over, and the next chapter is already being written behind doors we'll probably never see through.